your mind is creating these blockages that, you know what, I'm not going to get a team to take this to the next level because maybe I don't even want success because it's going to be hectic. Every decision I make is for my learning to better me. So I move beyond the fear. You're going to make some decisions that, damn, that was hard. Like, why did I do that? That was hard. Okay, what was I supposed to learn then? And Raina, that is how I manifest the fairy tale of my life. It's not in the outside. It's in creating the feeling within. And when I am peace, I attract peace. Hey friends, it's your girl Lenise Dazzel-Harris, and you are listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 219 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And we are going to be talking about a topic today that I think a lot of us can relate to. And it's the idea of what if there are blockages along our way to success? How do we identify them? How do we attack them? And how do we manifest our true desires? Our guest today is transformation coach, Affirmation Queen, and accountability partner Lenise Dazzel-Harris. And she's going to talk to us about her personal dream driving journey and how she found herself doing the work of teaching women how to pivot their perspectives to heal their stories and manifest their desires. She's going to share her own personal transformation story of finding herself after graduating from Howard University and going through life in the corporate world, and how working on self-love led her to all that she ever wanted in life, which is a loving family, a thriving business, fulfilled clients, and more. And then we're going to go behind the scenes on her signature clarity call, where you're going to hear from me and her doing the work. And I'm going to open up about my own fears and doubts building dreams and drive. And Lenise is going to lead me through a series of affirmations and questions that made me think about what might be holding me back and what do I need to do in order to move through it. It gets real personal and I get really vulnerable. So I'm trusting you all with this part of my story. And I hope that you can really be inspired to start making the changes in your own life after hearing me go through this work with Lenise. If you enjoy this episode, please share it with a friend, post it to your Instagram stories, post it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are on the online world. Please remember we are Dreams and Drive across the board on all those platforms. If you want to be part of our online community, The Keys, and get our weekly newsletter, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. And lastly, guys, special announcement. So if you have been following me on social media, you probably noticed that I announced last week that I am working on a special project. I've been working on it for the past few months with past guest Nikhila Matthews of the Side Hustle Pro podcast. And I am her official event storyteller, aka event producer, helping her bring this vision to life. If you are in Washington, D.C. on October 9th and want to come out for an awesome live podcast show filled with pre-show vendors, networking, a VIP meet and greet, and a special on-stage conversation with another special guest and also a past Dreams and Drive alum, Maya Elias, please, please, please come out. That's October 9th in Washington, D.C. Tickets are available at sidehustlepro.co/live. That's sidehustlepro.co/live. All right. I'm excited for you all to hear from Lenise. Be inspired.
Thank you for having me, Raina. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited too. So we have to tell the people, the dream drivers listening in, just how we are, I guess, connected, right? So Lenise, you were my next door neighbor. You and Samantha, my childhood best friend, were my next door neighbors growing up. And I want to say, I tell Samantha this, if she ever gets married, I'm going to say this at her wedding. Like, I met y'all in the jacuzzi. I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember? It was like...
Now that you say that, it comes back to me like yesterday. Y'all came upstairs and we was in the jacuzzi. Yes.
And for the longest, I thought you had another sister because I think one of your cousins were with you too. And
yes,
that was
indeed.
That was the start of our friendship growing up.
Mm-hmm. It sure was. You took it back to Orange, New Jersey, girl.
Because you know me growing up, and I think a lot of my listeners, they always want to know more about me, right? From what you could remember, how would you describe me as an adolescent? Because although we were different age groups, you more hung out with my sister Naima, but you still saw we all were kind of running the same, like we're all crossing paths. So what do you remember about me as a kid?
Mm-hmm. You were always very strong-willed. You were never a follower. I never remember you being a follower at all. Just really being clear on what you were doing and what you weren't doing. You always set boundaries. Yes. And as a kid, you know, it's not clear. It's like, oh, who does she think she is?
I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that.
Yes. But it was a lot of leadership qualities there that I even admired, as someone being older. That always stood out. Yes.
Yeah, I remember me and Samantha used to always be up to something, trying to create something. Remember our girl group in the backyard?
Yes. Creative spirits. Yes. Always creating something.
Yeah.
Even down to foodie. You've always been a foodie.
Yes. Remember how we used to be in the kitchen and we would like have these little snacks that we would try to get y'all to eat?
Yes. Oh my God. I remember specifically what's coming back to me right now is a cinnamon swirl. Those
with the
little
cream
rolls.
cheese.
Yes. Wonderful,
Yes.
beautiful memories.
Oh man. And you know what? I remember you being like, I also remember you being very strong-willed and very like to your spirit, like, this is who I am. And just being like, listen, guys, like I always saw you as mature. Like in my head, although we're only 2 years apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you? But in my head, I always saw you being very mature and very sure of yourself, and you were always fly. It was Lenise was fly. Lenise had all the because you know my dad wasn't buying me no Jordans or even Nikes, but you always was fly and in comparison to like, you know, what was fly at that time. You probably wouldn't wear the stuff we used to wear as kids now, but you know what I mean.
Yes, thank you for that affirmation confirmation, honey.
So do you remember what was the dream for you as a kid? Like, what did you envision yourself? What did you envision life being like for you as a child?
You know what's so interesting? I don't recall what the actual vision was. Mm-hmm. I just always felt that I would be successful and I would do whatever the hell it was I wanted to do. Now, yes, but wrapped in that was other people's idea of what I should be doing. And so I did have a narrative that I am going to be the successful businesswoman, you know, something in business management. It was always like a corporate structure that was fed to me. And as I got older, I made decisions around that narrative that does align with who I am and what I want to be now, but it was not the full vision of my life.
So when you went off to Howard, was that the dream that you were chasing, that you were going to become this corporate business person?
Yes. And also I was in a program, Boys and Girls Harbor, at Boys and Girls Harbor called Upward Bound, and they would take us on college tours. And one of the mentees went to Howard. And so the way that they spoke about Howard, it really made me excited about going to college. And then we took a tour. And once I stepped foot on campus, I knew I had to be there. So yes, wanting to be in the School of Business at Howard, which is very prestigious, that also aligned with the narrative of me being a businesswoman, along with it being an all-Black school, HBCU. I was very excited to be a part of that. And the history that came along with Howard, I wanted to also be a part of that. So yes.
So what actually ended up happening? Because you know how sometimes you have this vision for what you think will happen. How did that all pan out for you?
So I did go to Howard. And you know what's so funny? It's like your spirit always knows, but sometimes our mind, our ego takes us away from the knowing. And so I applied to Howard as a School of Communications major. And because I did well on my SATs, I was actually placed in the School of Business. And so when I went to Howard, I actually went to School of Business with my girlfriend, and they let me know that I was like enrolled in the School of Business. I took it as a sign that that's where I was supposed to be. And so I didn't go and switch to the School of Communications. And so I went along that process with School of Business. By my sophomore year, it came back to me like, you know what? School of Communications. And I went to School of Communications. And when I looked at their the courses, I thought that, you know what, let me stay in School of B because I won't graduate on time if I transfer now. And so I stayed in the School of Business and I still didn't graduate on time. I definitely was a part of that 5-year program at HU. Okay. So again, that was just another nudge from my spirit to switch lanes, and my mind did not allow me to follow that intuition. And so I stayed at Howard. I graduated with a business management degree.
Were you happy?
Was I happy? I can't say that I was happy. I was not happy. I was just unclear of what I wanted to do next, because my feeling was that I didn't want to be in a corporate structure. My mind was saying that, but my actions didn't align. So when they had, job fairs and mock interviews, I never went. I was not drawn and attracted to those events because that's not where I really wanted to be. And so that there was a misalignment between my heart and my mind, and that left room for confusion and chaos. And so after graduating, I moved back home with my parents, and I had an opportunity to move to California. And so I just left. I went to Cali for 3 months and I stayed with a friend, and I worked in an immigration office, entertainment immigration to be specific. And after the 3 months, things didn't work out. I went back home and I started working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car as a management trainee. And after 2 years there, my spirit couldn't take it anymore. I remember crying one day. I called my dad on the job, like, I cannot do this anymore. And, like any good dad, it's like, you don't leave without having something in hand. Mm-hmm. And so I started applying, and I got a position at an event management firm, which I had a lot of background in event management. Because during my college years, I was interning with Rush Philanthropic Arts Foundation, that's Russell Simmons Foundation, where I was doing events, Art for Life. I was assistant to Demetria Lucas over at Essence Magazine. So we were doing a lot of her personal events and branding. I was excited to have that event management position. But after, maybe 2 months, I felt it in my spirit. I told my friend, I said, I'm going to get fired.
Did you get fired?
And that same day, I got fired. That same day that I spoke it, I got fired. But it was also a blessing for me. And I didn't feel any way when I got fired, because it was almost like a relief, because I knew that I also was not supposed to be there. Having that space of not working gave me the opportunity to give back. And I said, you know what, with my free time, I'm going to give. And so I applied to be a volunteer at different programs for children. And I got an opportunity from one place, Friends of the Children, New York, to volunteer as a tutor for English and math. And so I did that with joy, maybe for a month. And then summer had started. And so, the children are out of school. But just in that time, one of the managers noticed me, and she asked me if I would be interested in a full-time position. And so I went along with that process, and I was hired as a youth advocate, serving 9 young women on my roster from the ages of 12 to 18. And it was divine alignment, okay, to work as a youth advocate in my community. It was right there in Harlem on 115th Street. I claim Harlem as my birthplace. I was really born in Queens, but we moved to Harlem when I was very little, like 2 years old, 112th Street between St. Nick and Lenox. And that's where my roots are. So it felt good to be back in that space, working with young women who were just like me, able to give back and share my learning with them, and then also advocate for them in spaces where they would be being taken advantage of. That was where the culmination of purpose came.
You talked a lot about misalignment, right? Not listening to our spirits, not listening to our intuitions. Why is that so important? Like, why do you think if you would have went to the School of Communications back at Howard, things would have been different for you?
I'm sure they would have been, but I also don't allow myself to dwell on what ifs, should haves, could haves. Everything happens for a reason, I believe. No coincidences happen by chance. And so there was something there for me to learn in not following my intuition. And even in the relationships that were built by staying where I stayed, the experience that I had, all of it was for my learning and for my spiritual growth. So yes, there could have been another road to where I am now, but the road that I took was the one that I was supposed to walk. And, it led me to where I am. So I'm grateful for that. Yes.
Were you always in tune with your, I guess, what's the proper word? Like your inner, what's the proper word for being in tune with your inner self? Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, you know what? I refer to it as my higher self. So just being aligned with my higher self. Yeah. Honoring my knowing is another way that I like to phrase that.
So the question is, was there a point where you started, I guess, really paying attention to your higher self? Because along all our journeys, right, I feel like we all are at different stages at our life. Was there a point where you're like, I need to really start investing in my higher self?
Yes, there was a specific point. I think that I've always followed it myself, my inner knowing subconsciously, and I think that's where you got that idea that I was very sure of myself. But consciously, there was a moment I remember specifically. I was just done dating. Like, I was dating this guy who, he was just playing games, honey. And I felt it like I was done. There was a feeling of doneness, of the foolishness, and a feeling of surrender. And I literally said it to my good friend, Alize, I surrender. I release all of the plans that I have for myself, because the plans that I have for myself, they're not working. Okay. That's been the pattern. And so once I surrendered and I said, I released plans, I had this freedom. Like, what am I going to do with myself? And my spirit was drawn to yoga. And so I just started looking up yoga classes in Harlem. And I found one on 125th Street, and I visited there, and I would go around the city visiting different yoga classes. And that for me was when I consciously aligned with my higher self, where it's like, I release all of the ideas and plans for myself. Just guide me. And I was guided through that path where I was able to connect with my breath and connect with my body. And that just opened a world of awareness for me. That was just the beginning, though. It is a process to reconnect with yourself. And so, yeah, girl, that was my moment.
So what changed? What changed once you did that? Once you started being more aware?
Once I started being more aware, the first thing that I noticed was that I slowed down. I started to assess before I acted more. And also what changed, I started to attract certain kind of people in my life. And that's actually how I met my husband.
Oh, you got to tell us. Do you mind sharing that story? Because I know it from what Samantha told me, right? Because Samantha loves telling the story. But talk to me through that. Because I feel like the way she describes it, it's like a wow. Like, it seems like a once in a lifetime type of, not coincidence, but it just seems it seems like a fairy tale in some ways, right?
It is a fairy tale. And it's so funny because that's also a knowing that I've always had my whole life. I've always believed in fairy tales, and I've always desired it for myself. Even when people are like, that's not realistic, I still held on to that. And my whole life, I mean, from even meeting my husband, to me, it is a fairy tale. And so what happened was, let's say, let me go back to a specific month, March. I got fired. I believe it was March 14th. And I'm going to double check that, March 13th or the 14th, because my daughter was born on March 13th, 14th. So there's a full circle moment that's coming into my awareness right now. So I was fired in March, and I just started working on me, giving back, doing the yoga. And I met my husband June 6th. Okay. So it was just that short period of time of focusing on me that my life turned around, or not even turned around, but just ascended, I would say, to this next level and attracted other beings of light. And so it was my girlfriend's birthday. Hey, Kat. Her birthday is June 6th. We went to Governor's Island for a festival, and we just had a good time. We didn't think about anything. We were just being. Her, myself, and a good friend, Alize. And after we left there, just high on life, I was like, I'm going to go home. This is my train right here, the 4 train. And they're like, no, girl, we're having such a good time. Let's walk across. You can take the D train. And I said, you know what? Let me just go with the flow. We out. And so we started walking across 125th Street. And 1 block later, there was a man crossing over. And my friend, Kat, she is such a light being, so much confidence. Like, she just was like, what up, to him. And he was on the phone, and she's like, who are you talking to, And then I'm tagged in like, yeah, his profile, he looked good from the side. And I thought I said it so low because I was in my phone, but he heard that little voice, and he turned around and he said, who said that? And my friend Kat ushered me in, and she was like, she did. And he's like, what's your name? And I'm like, a little taken aback. So that Harlem swag came out like, excuse me, I don't give my name out. But somehow I softened, and I did give him my name, and we eventually exchanged numbers. And just like that, I asked my friend when we walked away, I was like, how did he look? I can't even remember how he looked in that moment, because it was just so organic that I wasn't focused on that, And like 2 days later, we went on our first date, and we spent the whole date talking that we didn't even get to order food. We didn't want that date to end. We got kicked out the restaurant. We walked to Central Park, and we spoke for more hours there. And by that time, it was so late. It's like, okay, we got to cut this off. But when I went home, I texted my girls, and I was like, y'all, I met my husband.
Wow. And you
and
did.
That was that. And I did. By the 3rd date, we already planned our wedding date. We knew we were going to get married the next year, May 3rd. And we did that as well. So
wait, the 3rd day, Lenise? Y'all had planned?
The 3rd date.
The third date. Okay.
Yes. So we went on 1 date every Friday. And so that was like 3 weeks in. So by the 3rd date, we knew.
So how did you know?
There was a feeling that it was safe here. And I told him this too. It was like, I found the key. That was the feeling. I said, it feels like I found the key to a door that I didn't know needed to be unlocked. And I just felt that I can be myself. It felt like home. I didn't have to second guess myself, And even from the first date, I told him, like, listen, I am done playing games with men. I'm done playing games with myself. I'm going to be who I am. If that means texting you 10 times in one day, that's what I'm going to do. If you don't like it, let me know so that we don't have to waste each other's time. And he was like, you know what? You're speaking my language. I'm here for honesty and truth. And, that's how I knew. But what really sealed the deal was our first kiss.
Wow.
And so we were at the 40/40 Club on our 3rd date. It was actually a happy hour going on, like a networking. It was so packed. And there were no words. We were just staring each other's eyes, and it felt like no one was in the room. And he just came in for the kiss, and my heart accepted it, and I burst out in tears.
Are you serious? I mean,
yes.
Not in I've never heard of that response to a kiss, like tears.
Girl, me neither. And at that time, I would not classify myself as vulnerable, as a crier, as emotional. I really actually prided myself on being hardcore. Like, I'm from New York. I don't cry. Everything just falls off my shoulders. But for that kiss to produce that type of feeling, it was overwhelming. Like the feeling of pure love and joy and honesty and truth. It was not something I was used to experiencing. And so to feel that in that moment, the levees broke. And I mean, it wasn't a drop. It was snot type tears. You know what I'm saying? I was overwhelmed. I had to excuse myself. And so I went to the bathroom and I'm like, Lenise, what's going on? Get yourself together, girl. What is this? And it just, I thought I was good and I went back to him, but I wasn't good. The tears kept coming. So we had to leave actually. And, he's perplexed. He's like, what happened? Like, is it someone else? Did I do something wrong? And it was like, it's no one else. Like, I'm totally free and open. This is just something that I've never felt before. And it completely caught me off guard. Another full circle moment was that we had our baby shower celebration at 4040 for our second child. And it wasn't planned or anything, but the morning of, as I realized where the shower was, and, I was brought back to that moment, for me, it was like in that moment, my spirit felt all that would happen in the future. It was like what do you call this? Time travel. And I don't know if you know the music video, Jay-Z, Excuse Me, Miss, how they were on the elevator and he envisioned their whole life together. But then it came back to that moment and it was like, wait, what's your name? That was that moment for me. It was like that kiss felt all that we would feel up until our second baby shower and that same place that we had our first kiss. So it's been a beautiful ride, honestly, meeting my husband, getting married, having our first child at home, having our second child at home. And now she's 5 months old and we're 4 years married. And the bliss that I feel every day, I was just telling someone, when I wake up, it was a Thursday. I woke up feeling like it was a Saturday, like a kid waking up on a Saturday. All your favorite shows. You ain't got no school. You don't got to do homework. That feeling that I used to get, I have that every day.
So
yes.
For you, Lenise, because I just love, thank you for, number one, thank you for sharing that with our listeners and with me. And, we're talking about clarity because I feel like you were becoming very clear on who you were and what your future would look like. And I think that's something that a lot of us often struggle with, right? Is seeking that clarity. So can you tell us before we get into, so the original idea for this was for Lenise to do a clarity call with me and for you listeners to be able to tune in. But can you tell us a little bit about why you started We Create Shop and, the work that you do with your clients before we head into this clarity session?
Yes. And so the way we create shop started, was I wanted to share my learning with my girlfriends. I noticed the change and the transformation in my mindset and in my life. And I said, you know what? I want all women to have this. I put on a manifestation party for my women friends at my home. And I've always been, and this is where, when I look back, everything in my life has been a brick to pave this purpose road that I'm walking. And so I've always been interested in events. I've always been interested in sharing my learning in an intentional way. And so I used to plan workshops. And again, being an advocate with these students, planning workshops for them, trying to show them in an intentional way about healthy eating, about healthy hair habits, about fitness, things like this. And so I use all those skills that I have to put on this beautiful, intimate event for my girlfriends. The feedback that I got from them was so overwhelming that I knew I needed to take this out into the world. I mean, for like 2 weeks straight, they were saying how the things that we did in the workshop and the manifestation party at the time was so uplifting and empowering, and it helped connect friends, seeing each other as humans again. Taking us away from that shade culture, And so I said, wow, I want every woman to have this. And from that one event, We Create Shop was born.
Were you nervous about Well, I don't feel like nervous lives in your system, but did you have any hesitations, or were there any challenges with you in just getting things off the ground?
No, it was such a good feeling. It was so much excitement to give this to the world and to imagine other women feeling this sense of empowerment, and that I didn't even think about it, which actually, sometimes is a setback when we don't use logic and, just all emotion. So I was just running off of emotion full steam. I mean, from that, I went to the name coming through to me, to getting a logo, to LLC. I mean, the event was December. By February, I was LLC'd and quit my job.
But I think there is something to learn from that, because I think sometimes you can get caught up, or we can get caught up in the planning process, and we can get caught up in the, should I do it? Maybe it won't work. And we never actually get started. So that momentum is everything.
Yes. If you have a good feeling about something, run with it, go with it. And it's good to talk to other people that are empowering and supportive, that can help you bring that logic into your excitement. But I definitely move off of good feelings all of the time.
So talk us through what your clarity calls are and what, let's get started. I'm so excited.
So the purpose of my clarity calls are to clear the blockages that are holding us back. Period. Simple. That's the simplest form. One of my gifts is listening. I'm able to hear certain narratives and beliefs that block us from seeing a bigger picture, that block our perspective, because I believe that perspective is everything. And so I ask questions, a lot of why questions, for you to get down to the bottom of things. I believe that we all have a knowing, and we avoid that by saying, I don't know. This is too much. Maybe I'm doing too much, And so I'm listening for those type of phrases so that we can clear it and get down to what you really desire, and the affirmation to call that desire into your reality.
Okay, well, I'm ready, Lenise. Now you will I'm handing the mic to you.
Yes, wonderful. So, Rana, tell me, what are you afraid of?
It's funny because the first thing that came to mind, and I just posted about this on my Instagram, is, how we always talk about fear of failure? And I think that's something that we often talk about. I honestly feel like I fear success.
Yes.
That's the first thing that came to mind when you said, what am I afraid of?
What is it about success that you're afraid of?
Will I like it? Will I be able to handle it? Will it change? Will I change? Will it be what I thought it was?
What do you think it is?
I guess any type of success, or should I say like success with my podcast? Let's say success with my business, right? Or success with growing the brand. What if it gets big? What if I get famous and I don't want to be famous? Or, what if I become not a role model, because I do think I am a role model to people and an influencer of sources. But like, what if I just think about like, what if I don't actually like it and I can't reverse it? Like once people know me, I can't say I don't want people to know me. Or what if I won't be able to handle it? What if it's more work than I imagine, and I kind of can't handle it? So I guess it is fear of failure too.
It's almost synonymous.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, it is. And so what I'm hearing is that you are actually blocking the success that is on the other side of the fear with the belief that you cannot handle it. I want us to affirm that I am ready for success. And so the way that we go through the affirmation, I believe that when two or more people agree on one thing, so shall it be. We're going to do 3 deep cleansing breaths. Okay, so that's a breath in. You're going to hold it and then release. And in that hold, you can do 2 things. You can sit with the silence and allow that to connect you to yourself, or you can envision feeling good in your success. Which would you like to do?
Envision feeling good in the success.
Okay, wonderful. So we're going to take 3 deep cleansing breaths. We're going to use the hold to envision feeling good in our success. We're going to release. And then when we're ready, we're going to affirm, I am ready for success. Okay?
Okay.
Let's take that deep breath into your womb. Hold, envision, and release. Let's take a deep breath into the heart. Hold and smile, and release. And take one more cleansing breath in. Breathe in. Hold and smile. Envision success. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And release. And let's affirm on our own beat. I am ready for success.
Do I say it? Sorry.
On your own beat, we don't have to be in sync. I am ready for success.
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 What's coming through is I am enjoying success. I am enjoying success. I am enjoying success.
I am enjoying success.
I enjoy what I do.
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 I am ready for success.
I am ready for success.
Ashe. So tell me, what came up for you in visions and thought and feeling as you affirmed you are ready for success? You are ready for success. You're enjoying success.
I thought of myself like in a room of people and smiling, and the people were like nodding in affirmation with me.
Yes.
But then at the same time, when I also thought about like this vision of me freaking out over like I started thinking like seeing myself freaking out like in the background. Like, I don't know. That was
You do know. Why are you freaking out? What is the fear? What is the anxiety that is causing you to freak out?
To date, I've done everything by myself. And I guess I want a team. And I know in order to grow, I'll have to give up control over things. And I think I'm very controlling, especially because it's like, it's my baby. And it just makes me overwhelmed to think about all the things that I know I'll have to do in order for it to really grow and to reach that success. And because I feel like I've been doing everything by myself, that's where it starts to freak out. I'm good at creating the list, but then when it comes to the execution of the list, I tend to do the things that are the easiest on the list for me. And I put off what is a little more challenging.
Yes. And I believe that this is the blockage, not just for you, for me, for a lot of entrepreneurs, is that we're so ahead in the future that we are missing the moment. And we're creating these anxieties and these overwhelming feelings about something that has not yet occurred.
Yeah. I'm like that in every part of my life, I feel like. I can create, because I'm a storyteller, Lenise, so I could create stories for things that didn't even happen. Like, you don't understand. I could create what happened, what could have happened, what happened yesterday, what happened 20 years, and I'll believe it. And it's all in my head.
Yes, yes. And this is important for us to get out of the mind and to come back into the heart where the work is. And so I feel like, a part of success is to let go of success and to just come back into the daily work. The success will come as long as we stay on the path and as long as we continue to give back. The success will arrive when it's ready. And so the work for you and for me and for everyone is to, now that we visualize the feeling of it, right? Release it and get back into the now. This is where the heavenly glory is, the moment. And so small goals every day, I surrender to the needs of the business is what's coming up right now, the affirmation. And so you have your daily goals, focus on those small tasks and release control. Allow people to come in that is going to help the business to grow. And that, again, is in surrendering to the need of the business. Dreams and Drive needs a team to take it to the next level. And so what's coming through along with that affirmation is I release control. I release control and allow the will of God to work. How does that feel for you?
It feels comforting. Because the thing that I was thinking about as you said that is releasing control, but then at the same time, what also popped in my mind is me feeling like I have to listen to other people and what they tell me I should be doing. As you know, growing up with Caribbean parents, my parents, right? My parents love me, but at the same time, and I've always felt like I've had in the back of my head, I'm always trying to be a pleaser, if that makes sense. And
Yes, it does.
And making sure that, all right, am I doing what is the right thing to do? And always trying to figure out what is the right thing and not really trusting myself to make the decisions. So it's kind of like I'm even controlling myself by not trusting myself. If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
It makes all the sense.
Like I that's another thing I think is sometimes I wish I could just be free of caring about what other people think. But I know that I don't want to be out here being reckless, right? But at the same time, I just feel like I'm always living for other people and not really trusting what I know to be true. And for myself and my own, it's like I'm watching myself live the life I want. And there's just something there that I don't know why I don't know. It literally sometimes feels, Lenise, like I have a bungee cord, not a bungee cord. You know those elastic bands that people use when they're working out? And you can only go but so far because you have this bands around you?
Yes.
That's also a big thing, I think, when it comes to success is because part of me is scared to go really hard because there's people here saying, this is a hobby. What are you really doing? And it's like I want support, but maybe I don't necessarily need it. But do I need it? It's just, girl, let's end this.
It can be an ongoing stream of limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
That restrict us from living the life that we desire. And so while we can affirm business success all day, one thing I love about these clarity calls is that us talking helps us to get down to the root. And so what I believe is the root of all things is self-love. And that is the foundation of We Create Shop, is restoring self-love. And a big part of returning and rebuilding the self-love within me was acknowledging my parents' voice that lives in my head, because I too come from a Caribbean background. And because our parents love us so much, they want to shelter us and save us from what they believe would harm us, right? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, what that does is that creates the blockage where we don't listen to our own selves. We don't know how to connect with our own intuition and knowing and knowledge and wisdom. And so a lot of my self-love work is honoring what I feel is best for my well-being. We can go in to affirm, I trust myself.
That's the thing that I sometimes wonder if I trust myself, because it's like, what if what I thought was right for my well-being turns out not to be? Then I'm like, see, Rana? And I get caught up in that negative self-talk.
Right. Self-love also is releasing these limiting categories of right and wrong, and just knowing that it is what it is. Every single thing that we experience, even the extremely challenging things, are set up for our spiritual growth. It's for our well-being. Whatever decision that you choose, whatever decision that you make, it is for your growth. And so sometimes that's not going to look good. It's going to hurt. It's going to be challenging. But as long as you're aware in the challenge and you can walk away with the lesson, then it was all for your highest good. And so that's another affirmation that I affirm. Everything is working out for my highest good. Okay. And so which one of these affirmations speak to your spirit that you need to affirm? I trust myself, or I honor my intuition and follow it with joy.
I trust myself. I feel like both of them, but I trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to affirm, I trust myself. And the other actually came through as, I am hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it.
I am hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it. Okay,
so we're going to affirm, I trust myself first. And so we're going to take 3 cleansing breaths. And I want you to envision looking at yourself in a mirror, seeing yourself, holding your own hand, and affirming, I trust myself. So let's take those 3 cleansing breaths to connect with self. Breathe in. Envision holding your own hands. Breathe out. Breathe in. Smile at yourself and release. Stare into your own eyes. Smile. Release and affirm. I trust myself.
I trust myself.
I trust myself.
I trust myself.
And I want us to make it more personal. And I want us to say our names. I trust you, Lenise.
I trust you, Rana.
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 And I'm hearing that we can go into the affirmation. I am hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it.
I'm hearing my intuition. I am happy to follow it.
I am hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it.
I'm hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it.
And let's do this last one together. I am hearing my intuition and I am happy to follow it. Ashe. What came up for you as you affirmed that?
I felt, it's weird because I just opened my eyes and you know when you open your eyes you can feel like the sun coming, like the light entering?
Yes.
I just felt calm. I didn't
Yes.
really think about it. I didn't really necessarily see anything. I was just really focused on the words, and it
Yes.
just felt calm. I can't say that I thought about something. I just felt a peace by saying those words.
Yes. And peace does lie in following your own intuition and trusting yourself. Even, I leave it open. I don't tell people what to think or to feel. What came through for you? And just that feeling of peace, that you can access that now at any time when you begin to feel overwhelmed. You can affirm, I trust you, Rana. I hear you and I'm happy to follow you. When you hear other people's voices trying to come in, affirm, I trust you, Lenise.
And that's all I want, Lenise. Like, it's like, I just want to feel peace.
Yes. And there it is. There is the desire of your heart. Affirm, I desire to feel peace, and I allow it to enter. I'm going to write that down.
Okay. I desire to feel peace, and I allow it to enter. I had tears in my eyes. I don't even know why. That's all, really thinking about it.
Allow it to flow.
That's really all I want is just peace.
Yes. Yes. Breathe in peace right now. Breathe it in. Yes, yes, yes. I feel you, Rana. Breathe in that peace. Sit with it. Feel it. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for alignment. Thank you so much for peace. Thank you so much for trust. Thank you so much for intuition. Thank you so much for this light that's being called in this moment. Gratitude is the language of the universe, and we are grateful for this moment. Thank you so much for the clarity. Thank you so much for purpose. Thank you so much for dreams and drive. Thank you so much for We Create Shop. Thank you so much for sisterhood and support. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We honor our knowing today and forever. Thank you so much. We are unconditional love. Thank you so much. And Rana, that is how I manifest the fairy tale of my life. It's not in the outside. It's in creating the feeling within. And when I am peace, I attract peace. When I focused on self-love and alignment, I attracted self-love and alignment. And everything fell into place for me. And that's why I love these clarity calls, because I serve as a listener, as a space of unconditional love and non-judgment, as an accountability sister, because I've been where you are. There's days where I have those feelings, and I use my affirmations to call in to my spirit what it is that I truly desire, connecting with the desires of my heart. And that's where you move from each and every day. And the success will come. I release success. I release control. I surrender to the will of God, which is aligning me with the desires of my heart. Ashe?
Ashe.
So that is a clarity call. And so usually I have an assignment that comes through. And so what I'm hearing is I'm going to send you your affirmations to affirm, but also I want you to start to reach out to people that you trust that are working in spaces that can help bring dreams and drive to the next level. Your assignment is to release control and to begin to delegate and stand in your role as a leader. That's what you said. I believe I'm a leader. When we first started, you are a leader. Allow yourself to lead, right? And, leaders, it's not always about having people follow you, but just to be in alignment with other leaders. Who's leading in the field of what dreams and drives need? Yeah. And you reach out, you look into those spaces and you reach out and say, listen, I'm leading in this realm, whether it's the podcast or connecting people or events and workshops. I need someone that can lead in organization and planning. I need someone that can lead in facilitating XYZ, whatever it is you feel dreams and drives need. I want you to start to reach out and build your team. That's your assignment. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to send you these affirmations and know that at any given time, I am affirming with you. You can reach out to me like, hey, girl, I'm affirming right now. Affirm with me in this moment. Affirmations, what I notice when I affirm is that one affirmations lead to another.
Yeah.
Affirmations create visions, creates thoughts, creates feelings, depending on the day. It's different. And that'll lead me to the next affirmation on where my heart wants me to work. So thank you so much. That's our time for the clarity call.
We probably went overtime too, but I appreciate you, Lenise.
Yes, I'm fine with going over because I'm following the work. Mm-hmm. I'm following the work. I'm a giver. So, and this is for me too. Don't get it twisted, honey. I'm affirm, and that's why I affirm right along with you. I don't like to consider myself an expert because I'm always learning and growing. I'm a student of life, but I am going to share my knowing with everyone in every way. And this is one of the ways that I like to do that. So thank you for having me on Dreams and Drive, sis.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Where can our listeners, if they want to, work with you, let us know how others can get these clarities calls and work with you further as well.
Yes. So I am on Instagram, we_create shop, where you can DM me for a free 15 minutes. And then if you feel the clarity and peace that we received today, then you can book me also on my website, createshopplanning.com. I have 30-minute and 1-hour sessions. You can book there. I'm on Facebook. We Create Shop Accountability Partners. That's a private group where I share affirmations as well, motivation, inspirations. And I also will be having public events coming up where you can join in. Anyone can join in with me. And so look out for that. I'll be posting that on my Instagram as well. I'm currently operating out of Instagram mostly right now, just because I'm new to social media and it's easier for me to focus on one thing at a time. So
thank you so much, Lenise. Before we go, though, I do want to get your keys to success. So, if you're a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success, right? So what are 3 things that you think every dream driver should definitely have in their toolkit before they hit the road?
Have a sturdy, firm foundation of self-love so that you can get out of your own way and walk in your own path and your own light. Have a plan in place, okay? We need to have a plan. Reach out to people who can help you create a business plan. Look into your community, into small business development community offices that can sit with you. And lastly, have a love and a passion for what it is you do and always work from the heart. Success is imminent. It's imminent if we follow our hearts and give back to the world in any way we can through our talents and abilities.
Thank you, Lenise.
Thank you, Rana.
All right.
I look forward to working with you.
I really appreciate that. I don't know why I started crying. I was like, ooh.
I know why you started crying and why every woman starts crying when we have these transformational calls. Because it is aligning us to the desires of our heart and we are not living there.
I never thought about it as peace. I never thought, how you think about it as everything else. Like I really just want peace. And just
yes. And that's where your fear is too. It's so funny because you're afraid that you're going to lose peace if you gain success. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to affirm that peace and success can coexist.
And so for so long, when I think about, it's like I can't see it as being peaceful,
And that's blocking. That's a blockage for you for business success. Your mind is creating these blockages that, you know what? I'm not going to get a team to take it to the next level because maybe I don't even want success because it's going to be hectic.
Yep.
Yes, that peace right there, literally peace and peace. But peace, us having these ideas of success based on what everyone else says it is, causes this fear that helps us, that then, we block it. Mm-hmm. So call in that peace and success can coexist. And imagine what that looks like for you. Envision your team. Mm-hmm. Envision that you can delegate so that when it does get hectic, you can go retreat and find peace while somebody else is handling the business. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm so grateful for this work, because that's when I get the tears, that's how I know that shit is working. Mm. That's how I know that I'm in alignment with who I am. When I'm feeling something, tears are a manifestation of feeling. Mm-hmm. I don't want to live in my head. I want to live in my heart. I want to align with my desires. And so we be calling in money, but money's not coming because we believe money's not going to bring us peace. So that's why I'm going to stick with the feeling and the vibration of peace. And then I'm going to allow God to set the scene on what that looks like. Because my vision is limited. God is unlimited. So I surrender to the unlimited vision of God, that God has for my life. And I'm just going to align with the good feelings that's going to bring that to me, because the feeling of peace is what's going to attract business success.
Yep. And it also just helps literally bring clarity, right? Because you can't move in a straight line. Well, not even a straight line. You can't move if there's so much in your way, right?
Yes. Yes. Clarity is what's going to help us to get to the next step with peace. And so I definitely want to continue doing this work with you, because I have gone through a major transformation of quelling my parents' voice that lives in my head.
Me and Samantha talk about that all the time. We're like, it's crazy. Well, I don't think Samantha so much, but I talk about it with Samantha all the time.
Right.
And right. It's crazy how even me as a 28-year-old, right? How is it still there? Why is it still there?
Parents, tell me.
I thought it would just you know how you think it'll just disappear once? Well, right. I thought it would, and I'm like, oh, it's still here.
No, and that's another conversation, honey. Where parents don't realize their power, that from a young age, it's over. What are you saying to your children that's going to last, that's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives?
Yep.
Being intentional with our word. I believe strongly in the power of the word, which is why I focus, on my affirmation so strongly. And so I have to realize, that my parents, they have certain fear-led beliefs, because love can be so strong for your children. Mm-hmm. And so I have to send love to that voice in my head. Thank you, Mom. I know you want the best for me. I got it. And then just this knowing that there's no such thing as right or wrong. It is what it is. Everything's working out for my highest good. Every decision I make is for my learning to better me. Mm-hmm. So I move beyond the fear. You're going to make some decisions that, damn, that was hard. Like, why did I do that? That was hard. Okay, what was I supposed to learn then? Mm-hmm. And from that, I feel good. So don't beat yourself up, Rana. Make every decision that feels good, that brings you peace. Okay, that's how you know what decisions to make. Does this bring me peace? That's going to be your question for every decision, because that's the desire of your heart. Does this bring me peace? And you make the decision that brings peace. And you can't go wrong from that. Mm-hmm. Ashe?
Ashe.
This is the best thing that's happened to me all day. I am just so grateful that you're using your platform to share with the world, to heal the world, because that's what we're doing. We're healing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We're healing ourselves and we're healing others simultaneously. I'm grateful that it was you. This is a full circle moment for me to have my childhood friend, my childhood sister, to share my work in this way, to honor me in this way. I'm so grateful. So I send you energies of love, light, peace, healing, success, all of your heart desires, clarity, today and forever. And you can call me so that we can affirm that together, right?
Yes, I will. You might get a text like, Lenise, I need
Listen, that's what I'm here for. That's accountability partner right there. That you are not alone. That there's somebody in your corner that will empower you and support you and take you away from fear-based thoughts. Yes.
And if there's ever
that's the transformation. Tell me.
It's a two-way street. So if there's ever anything that I can be of help or anything, I'm here too, Lenise. We came a long way from the jacuzzi.
Yes. And I have to say it's 11:11 as we end our call, which is the angels letting us know that we are on our divine path.
It
11:11. Look that up for yourself. Tell the listeners to look up 11:11. If you see that, know that you are on the right path. So thank you so much, angels. Thank you so much, Rana. Thank you so much, Dreams and Drive.
Thank you, Lenise.
We will talk again soon.
All right. So that's a wrap for episode 219 with Lenise Dazzel-Harris, and I hope you enjoyed hearing her dream driving journey as well as her keys to success. If you love this episode, please stop what you're doing right now and share it with a friend, share it with your community. I love it when you guys are posting to Instagram stories and tagging us, post it to Twitter feeds, your Facebook, text messages, whatever. Send this to one person because I know there's somebody in your life that could really benefit from listening to Lenise's story and also hearing my clarity call and us doing the work in real time. Remember, we are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing. And if you want to be part of our Dreams and Drive online community, the keys, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. I also want to encourage everybody, make sure that you are subscribed wherever you're listening, whether you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, a podcast app, wherever, hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications every time we have a new episode. And something else a lot of you guys have been asking me is, how can I support Dreams and Drive? Or how can we support you, Rana? Well, there are multiple ways that you can donate to or support Dreams and Drive monetarily if you'd like. Go to dreamsanddrive.com/donate. That's dreamsanddrive.com/donate to see those options. We do have a Patreon that you can be part of, and it's $5 a month if you want to support Dreams and Drive and show your, support in that way. Next week's episode, guys, is another special one. It's going to be with Craig Robinson, Princeton class of 83, and he's also the brother of Michelle Obama. That episode was recorded at Princeton Podcast Studios, part of their broadcast center, and it was just, it was an in-person interview, and it was really delightful. It was really nice to be able to sit down and reflect on his own life and a lot of the lessons that he wants us dream drivers to impart and to learn from. So get ready for next week's episode. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 220. Bye, guys.